Hi, I'm Mars from StrataGames, and today we're playing some more White Weenie in Pauper. This is a deck that's it's fallen off the map a little bit in terms of the meta share for a while, but I think it's making a bit of a comeback, and it's, not doing too poorly. I think, although there are some decks that it's still pretty difficult against, it has some good matches against any affinity decks. Of course, now there's Esper and Grixis affinity to deal with. Decent matchups against Jund, against a lot of the burn decks. Not bad against Terror. However, Elves has been at an all-time high, and it's a little bit tough for that, so we have a little bit of extra sideboard for them. But we're playing some more of this Darval. Kid Renan, one of the main people who plays White Weenie, trophied with a deck, trophied with this list right here, except for that minor change I made in the sideboard, and playing 2 Darval. So it looks like it might be a card that might stick around, because it can pick back up your Inspectors to get extra clues, and it's a 3/3, which is just not a bad body at all. We're also playing a couple Summon Choco Mogs. We are playing the Squadron Hawk version, because we can pump out a lot of creatures, which is nice with the Mog, and also really nice in our sideboard with Martyr of Sands against any red deck. We have a couple Destroy Evils, Journey to Nowheres, 1 of Standard Bearer, playing 3 Holy Lights for the Elves matchups, and 3 Dust to Dusts. Otherwise, pretty standard. We have 1 of Eagles of the North, some Prismatic Strands, Guardian's Pledge to pump the team. Of course, Skyfisher, Rafine's Informant, 4th Raven Charm, some Lunarch Veterans, a couple Idyllic Ranges, and some Plains. So let's take it for a league and see how we do. You can now pick up my comprehensive guide to Esper Cryo Affinity, including 38 sideboard matchups, and I just put out a big update for my Black Sack guide, including a slightly different deck list. I began offering coaching sessions if you're interested in taking your Pauper game to the next level, and I'm accepting deck donations, so if you desperately want me to play a deck that I usually wouldn't play, something like Elves, or maybe you want me to suffer through High Tide, then you can make me do that for a small fee. I've started posting a league video every single day, not to mention streaming at least a couple times a week on Twitch, but I'm not going to be able to keep that up forever unless I can get a little bit more help from the community. Any of the ways I've just mentioned are great ways to help me out, or you can even subscribe and support me on a monthly basis. All right, round 1 here, and not a bad hand. Looks like we're going to maybe be able to get off that turn 2 Darval, which could be pretty sweet. Opponent mulligans to 6, and playing something blue. We are hoping that's Terror. Fairies we have not a bad matchup against either. Actually, Fairies we have a very good matchup against too. For Spike, pretty annoying. But of course, High Tide we have a pretty bad matchup against. Looks like it's not going to be High Tide with the Force Spike, but that does make it so we can't Darval on turn 2 as we were hoping. I'm just going to cast another one, and I'm assuming it's Terror, although if they Spell Stutter Sprite this, that would be pretty annoying. Looks like it is Terror, though, with a Mental Note, hitting a Deep Analysis, and another, hitting a Sleep of the Dead. That's already 6 spells in the grave. Pretty brutal if they throw out a couple snakes here. There's a Serpent, another Darval, of course. I think I'm going to attack. It is basically a bluff attack. I'm hoping that they don't block because this seems like, why would they want to block here? And if they do take the damage, we get to enweb it. But they decide that there's not really any downside to doing so, so they do block. Pretty annoying. So I guess we're going to Prismatic, keep our guy alive. This doesn't seem very good, but... And they have the Force Spike. Yeah, I mean, maybe we just got too hasty. If we just wait for them to attack, next turn we can attack probably. But if they have another Terror, then it's never happening. I guess I could have just thrown out one of these 3/3s. I can admit that probably wasn't the best play, but also it already looks like we're in a very bad spot. And the Serpent does not help with that. We do have a Veteran. Play a Grange to grow this and just cast a Darval. So we do have double block Prismatic Strands, and assuming they don't have another counter spell, that's not bad, although they can Sleep of the Dead one of these guys, which could be pretty annoying. We are going to double block, go for the Prismatic, and just concede. They're killing both our guys, and we're taking way too much damage. Alright, like I said, if you think that play was bad and aggressive, that's totally reasonable, but I think that game was going poorly regardless. Journey to Nowhere and Destroy Evil is pretty much all we get. Probably just Squadron Hawks are less good here, just because we don't have any synergy with the Martyr of Sands. We're not trying to be that aggressive. We're trying to hold them off. Different reasons like that. All right, on the play here, we got Veteran, then some interaction. No 2-drop creature is a bit unfortunate. We need to hit more lands, but that's not usually an issue. We'll keep it. Yeah, we do hit a land there. So no 2-drop, but honestly, with their Force Spike scaring me, playing a 2-drop could just be a pain. They're going to cycle a Lorien for an island, play that for turn. So now I could play one of these, but then they just counter spell or even force spike. I think I'd rather wait until we have at least another land to play around the force spike. We get an informant, swing with the veteran and cast this guy, counter spell that, and brainstorm. They draw one of the cards back for turn, but then mental note, hitting a serpent and another note. So that could be a 3-mana serpent, or a 2-mana rather. So cryptic, Thraben Charm could be decent. Unless they have a dispel, this is going to get around force spikes. I think we just send it off. They do have a dispel. Well, that is annoying. Sleep of the Dead, the veteran. There's a terror, attack for 6. Journey to nowhere. Well, we didn't draw our lands. I can't Screech or anything. I could Thraben Charm their graveyard, but even if that works, we still take 11, so I guess we try to Journey the Serpent. Take this guy away. Pass the turn. Mental Note hits 2 Ponders. They swing for 5. Another Serpent, and they have Counterspell Man up, and we don't hit our land drop. I guess we try to exile their graveyard, so they can't Sleep of the Dead. If they have a Counterspell, it's not great, but they don't. If they have another way to get rid of this veteran, that's bad, but if they don't, theoretically, we could land a Battle Screech next turn and gain some life. Oh, I guess I have to chump here though, which means I can't flash it back, so I'm not gaining life. Well, I guess that's probably bad. Inspector. Alright, well, not a great start, admittedly. 2 hands that just didn't really come together. Alright, we're on the play. We could potentially get that turn 2 Darval again, although we need to get another land if I want to replay the Inspector, but this hand looks decent. Otherwise, I could just cycle the Eagles and then play Darval, play an Inspector, and Wolf 777 plays a lot of different decks, so could be a number of things, but we do get our planes. Swing for 1, we're going to return this to hand and replay it. Get a 3/3, now we can attack for 4 next turn, not bad. Kumbaj Witches. So it looks like mono black Devotion. Okay, we get a plains. So this doesn't currently kill anything on our board, but it will with like the Battle Screech. So I probably just Thraben Charm this, because it also prevents us from playing Squadron Hawk. It prevents us from getting in with Inspector. I realize right after I do this that if they had a Snuff Out, I wouldn't have been able to kill it there. Luckily, there was no Snuff Out, but that was maybe a little risky. Play a Witch's Cottage. We're going to cycle the Eagles, and they'll Defile Darval. Sure. We're going to get a Grange, and Lunarch Veteran. So life gain probably isn't super relevant. I mean, I guess with Gary, maybe it is. I could just Battle Screech here, try to attack for a bunch. If they have like a Crypt Rats, they'll be able to wipe them away. That's probably fine, though. And I don't think I need the life gain. If they have a Drown in Sorrow, same thing, although the Inspector will survive. Either one of those, it should survive. There is a Crypt Rats, but they don't have the mana for it, so I guess if I get a removal spell, that'd be pretty decent. Looks like not, but we get to hit for 6 here. I guess if they have Toxin, they could gain the life back. Obviously, we're not developing any more creatures, because that doesn't make any sense when they're about to wipe the board. Prismatic Strands would have been a nice card to draw to prevent damage from the Crypt Rats. They cycle a Troll for a Swamp. They do have Toxin Analysis. Yeah, it's annoying. If they put 2 mana into it, they're going to gain like 12 life or something. 14 life, why not? Alright, Lunarch Veterans, Squadron Hawk, and hope for no extra Crypt Rats, no second Crypt Rats, because then I can just start attacking with these guys. I mean, the fact that they're back at 23 is pretty annoying. They just cracked their clue. We get a Guardian's Pledge. Well, they didn't have a board wipe this turn. I think we're just going to try to flood the board with a bunch of creatures and then next turn Guardian's Pledge, which would be lethal if they don't have any removal at all. But it's also possible that they just were willing to take 4 and then they're going to bait for us to do this exactly, wipe the board fully, which would be pretty unfortunate. But I don't think not playing more creatures is a very good way to deal much damage. Exhume. Exhume for a Crypt Rats. Yeah, I guess that works. I could get into Eagles, but they're going to pay 3, so it doesn't matter. I might as well get an Inspector. They deal 2 damage to everything. Fiend's Informant. Let's crack a clue. Play a Fiend's Informant. Guess we'll discard a Plains. Gonna get back a Veteran. Defile Informant. Gives us a life. Oubliette, the Phantom. Sure. Another Skyfisher. So I'm going to play this Phantom. Skyfisher. Pick it back up. Put it on the front side. Pass. They kill the Skyfisher. Another Oubliette. Duress takes Guardian's Pledge. I mean, they're getting low-ish on cards, but I suppose so are we. Pick up a Grange. Get a counter. Why not? Draw every Oubliette in their deck. Battle Screech is pretty good. Can't flash it back because I don't have any extra creatures, though. Witch's Cottage for Crypt Rats. Nice. I'm just going to swing with the birds and pass. Try not to overcommit when there's a Crypt Rats coming. If they want to just take 2 for a couple turns, that's fine. Eventually they'll have to activate, though. Duress doesn't hit anything. So that's a pretty good draw for us. They see we're just sandbagging. They have the toxin analysis. Okay. They're just going to crack their clue. They're just going to gain a whole bunch of life. Annoying, but I mean, they're using the Crypt Rats up. Not the most effectively. Life is good, but Thraben Charm also lets us get one of these back. So I can play this. Let's play an Informant. Draw. Prismatic Strands is good to discard, I think. Then I'm going to destroy the one targeting the Skyfisher. Oh, I forgot that it brings it back tapped. I specifically was doing that now so I could Battle Screech, but I forgot about the tap clause from the Oubliette, so that's a little annoying for sure. Could have waited to do it then until later. They have another Exhume. Why not? I do have a Prismatic Strands now in the grave. Who do we bring back? Skyfisher. I guess Skyfisher lets me bounce a creature. And just an Inspector draws us a card. No, we'll go with the Skyfisher. It's got 3 toughness, so they can't really kill it. It lets me bounce a creature or just a Grange. I'll go with a Grange, why not? We get another Informant. So we're going to play Grange, put a counter on the Skyfisher. I guess they have 7 lands. So if they get a 8th land, they can do Crypt Rats for 4. And then if I Prismatic Strands, they can Crypt Rats for 4 again. That'll wipe these guys out. Maybe I should have put it on this Skyfisher then. But we can attack with all but 1. Hit for 9. It's not bad. Pass. Crack a clue. There's a land. So they activate for 4. I think I just let that go because I'd rather hold the Prismatic Strands up for the next time they have a Crypt Rats then. Didn't really think that I'd have to deal with Crypt Rats this many times with all the Exhumes, but another Prismatic Strands. Here's Rafine's Informant. Hopefully we get a creature. No. Well, I'm going to discard a Plains then. Replay this guy. Now I have up multiple Prismatics. Witches. Yeah, that can kill these. I mean, Prismatic can prevent some of them, but Thraben Charm kills this. Or I could just kill an Oubliette. This comes tapped though, so I can't Battle Screech. This is going to pick off the creatures we already have. I think we got to do that. I could use it to save it to exile the graveyard in case of another Exhume or Witch's Cottage, but then the Witches is just going to start picking off our creatures. That doesn't seem very good. Thorn of the Black Rose. Okay. I mean, we can hopefully get that with the Flyer if they don't have removal and take the Monarch, and then Prismatic Strands, we can just hold it pretty easily. That seems good. Not sure why they played that without a removal spell. 6 mana for a Troll. Sure. Swing with the Thorn. We'll flashback. Prevent all damage from black sources. Play an Inspector. Crack a clue. I could flashback a Battle Screech. Flashback a Battle Screech and leave up Guardian's Pledge / Prismatic. Seems pretty good. So I might as well crack a clue then. Swing for 1 in the air. And then if they attack and next turn I can Prismatic and then I can Guardian's Pledge for lethal if they don't have a board wipe or something. Prevent all damage from black sources. So we can't get Crypt Rats this turn. I guess if they have a Drown in Sorrow, we do tap out of the Guardian's Pledge, which would be pretty bad, but hopefully that does not happen. Another Thorn gives them the Monarch. Okay. They have 2 blockers, so we're going to get in for 12. I think that's probably worth it to go for the Pledge, especially because we'll eat their guys, or trade with them anyway. Guardian's Pledge, they get down to 3, we gain some life, take the Monarch, and then we get to play a Skyfisher, buy back an Inspector, replay that, we have Prismatic Strands, I can crack a clue, and we have a Screech next turn. I feel like things were going decently, but we were skewed. Like there was possibility they could draw another board wipe or something, and then I know all they had was the Thorn, but I only had like 2 damage on them at the time. Feels like the Thorn kind of just gave us the game, so that was interesting. Destroy Evil can blow up Oubliettes and can kill big creatures. Journey to Nowhere can get rid of their problematic creatures. I think that's it. Prismatics were good. Hard draw is good. Life gain's pretty irrelevant. But the guy coming back from the graveyard's pretty good. Squadron Hawk was not bad there, actually. Honestly, part of me thinks like the Guardian's Pledges are not as good. Like they might keep in Duress. They're probably going to take out Monarch, so maybe Prismatic Strands isn't as needed, but obviously it's good for Crypt Rats too. Formant can die to the Kumbaj Witches pretty easily, like before I discard a thing. I don't know. I'm just reaching for reasons to pick out some of these guys. I don't really want to take out too many 1-drops. Performance are good and aggressive, but I feel like just having more bodies with the Hawks is probably better. All right, triple Inspector is good card advantage, especially if they start wiping our creatures away. Spellbomb's decent. Dark Ritual into a Thorn. They kept Thorn in. That shocks me. I guess if they're Dark Ritualing, that's kind of part of the game plan, though. I guess we're just Skyfisher to get a flyer, but then they just kill this. It's not great. Can't do much about that. I could have just played 2 Inspectors, Phyrexian Ranger. Okay. If they don't have a Snuff Out, they can't stop me from taking the Monarch. Looks like they don't. Prismatic is good, although I don't have the land for it currently. And obviously they have a Spellbomb to get it from the grave. If I just play 2 Inspectors, I could have blockers. Could Rafine's Informant, which can trade with one of them. Yeah, this also draws us a card. Hopefully we hit a land. 4th Inspector. Guess I'll get rid of one of these guys. Oh no, I was supposed to get rid of the... That was silly. I was supposed to get rid of the Prismatic Strands because they could crack the Spellbomb right there, but if they wait till this turn, then I at least have the ability to stop them from getting the Monarch back. Alright, well now I'm just taking 3. So that was not what I was supposed to be doing, or what I was supposed to discard. Cycle a Troll for a Witch's Cottage. Crack their Spellbomb, that seems aggressive. Except they don't have much going on, like much removal or anything. Oh, Exhume for a Troll? Sure, so I didn't get my guy back. Okay, I can't play the Grange untapped. So I think I just cycle this, regular planes, play that. Now I can destroy evil on this guy. Take back the Monarch for 5. They're gonna take it again. The next turn I can like hold up some stuff, or I could leave this back as a blocker to trade. I guess that's probably better, seeing as I'm pretty sure they don't have snuff outs. I mean, we haven't seen one and they haven't even played like they've had one. So if they don't kill this, I'll trade it off with one of these so that it's easier to have blockers next turn. Although then again, I guess if they then kill the Skyfisher, it makes it so I can't really attack them back. Oh, brother. All right, I guess I should have just attacked if I wasn't going to block, because if I do block here, then they kill this, then I don't have a way to take the Monarch, so that seems bad. Okay, Witch's Cottage back the Troll. That's fine. They have Witches. Another Destroy Evil if they get the Troll down. Put this on the Skyfisher. Swing. They're going to block here, so I feel like they're going to kill the Skyfisher, because otherwise this is kind of a silly block. Oh, they have Toxin. Okay, so these will just trade. I could Prismatic to keep my guy alive. That's not how I want to use that, really. They then have the Defile. Okay, so this trades with both. That's fine, because then I can just... I could Battle Screech, but I can't flashback right away, so I don't want to do that. I'm going to Inspector, Skyfisher, Inspector. They have the Swamp, so they can play a Troll. I can blow it up. That's fine. I can blow it up, but then I can't Prismatic Strands. But I can just play 2 more Inspectors. Or I don't have to blow it up this turn. I could just hold up the Prismatic Strands. I guess that probably makes sense, right? Another Witch. Play a Swamp. Dark Ritual. Suffocating Fumes. Do they have 2 Suffocating Fumes here? Because that doesn't do anything yet. Or like a Drown in Sorrow. Yeah, another one. Yeah, I'll just Prismatic here. They killed 2 of our guys, but they used 2 of those and they didn't even wait for like the Battle Screech and the Inspectors and stuff. Journey to Nowhere too, to take out the Witches so that they can't pick off our guys. This to blow this guy up. I can flashback Prismatic. I mean, this already feels like a decent matchup for us because like they have tons of removal, but we just have tons more creatures. But I really don't know why they're keeping the Thorns in. I guess maybe that's just the whole game plan. Does this deal damage? Each opponent loses X life. Okay, it's not damage. If it was damage, I would probably Prismatic because I would want to do it here anyway. They just attack here, so I don't actually have to cash in the Prismatic, but I think it's probably worth it. Then again, what if they get a Crypt Rats? I could just die to that. I could chump. But if I chump, then I can't really Battle Screech with flashback unless I get a Plains here, which I might. Yeah, but still. If they have another Gary, maybe I want to like Thraben Charm here, but I kind of think I want to get the Battle Screech off, so if we draw like a Pump Spell, we'll be able to use it pretty nicely. Swing with the team. We'll block here, block the Thorn, block the Gary. They have a Toxin for the Rager. They always have the Toxin, but that's fine. Crack the Clue. 4 mana for another Thorn. Okay. Skyfisher. We're going to play a Veteran to gain a little bit more life, I think. We're certainly attacking with a couple birds. Taking the Monarch. We have so many clues to crack. Let's play Skyfisher to pick up Grange, I think. Replay that. Full on a Veteran. And Inspector so it can block the Gary, I guess. And I'll leave up to Thraben Charm in case they have another Exhume or something. And we can actually crack some clues this way. Prismatic, we don't quite have the mana for because I didn't leave it up, but still a pretty decent draw. They have a Spell Bomb. Currently, that's totally fine. And they might have to cycle it if they're desperate. Looks like yes. And if they then have the Exhume, since they blow up our graveyard, we have the Thraben Charm, so not a big deal. I can double block Gary, block all of these guys, keep the Monarch. I do have another Toxin Analysis on Gary to eat both of these guys. I think that's fine. It's annoying, but it's fine. All I need is to keep the Thraben Charm for like an Exhume. I think we'll be okay. We'll crack a clue. Darval. Alright, that that can just block here. Plus we have Prismatic. I don't want to use it on a bird because that's a waste. So yeah, I guess I'm not in webbing. I'm just going to play it out. I can still swing for a couple though. Draw off the plains. Block one of these guys. Go for the Prismatic on black. Eat a Thorn. There's Witches. Get this guy back. Play an Informant. Bin a Plains. Ooh. So if I don't 3-win Charm the Witches, then they can start killing some of these guys. But I think just doing this lets me hit for, what is this, 8 right here, and next turn I can hit for a bunch. I think that's probably fine. Plus I have a Prismatic Strands up. Oh, or they just chump. That's fine too. Another Prismatic Strands. There's a Crypt Rats. So if I just let this resolve, they can do Crypt Rats for like 1 to try to kill a few of these. I can't do much about that. However, I could flashback Prismatic Strands now, and then on our turn they're going to go for a Crypt Rats, and then I also have a Prismatic for that, and then I can 3-win Charm it. So I think that's worth it. So let's cast this for black now. And then in our upkeep, they're probably going to try to do something for 3. I could prevent it now, but then they could still get the 1s. But if I do this, 3-win Charm down their Crypt Rats first, they have to activate again, or they could just lose it, and then I have a Prismatic Strands to prevent it once it's dead so they can't activate again. Now we do this for black, keeps our guys alive, makes it so they can't kill even our one toughness guys. And that's going to get us the match. All right, this hand looks pretty decent, and against Rakdos Madness, the life gain from Veteran's pretty good, Prismatic Strands is pretty good, so we have some good tools, but we'll see how this goes. Grab the prize with a snacker right away. Swing for 1, and I think I'm just Skyfishing back the Veteran because this gives us a blocker. If they kill the Skyfisher, not my favorite thing, but I can't do much about it. Next turn I can start holding up Prismatics, but they've grabbed the prize with Alms of the Vein. That doesn't let the snacker through, so I guess that's some small consolation. Another Skyfisher, so I could Veteran Skyfisher again, or I could just hold up Prismatic Strands. I feel like I probably just want to hold up the Strands so that I can get it in the graveyard, and then I can start playing these guys. Vampire's Kiss makes us lose life, doesn't make us take damage, so that's not going to work. So I guess I could, by not casting the Strands, I'm wasting it for next turn. I think I just keep it, and then I can at least get the Veteran down. Ooh, and I can just Rafine's Informant here. Okay. So we'll pitch 1. I guess in response they can bolt. Yeah, that's a little annoying. Not the end of the world, but still good. So Prismatic in the grave as well as a Veteran. They have a Highway Robbery. Discard an Alms of the Vein. This does not do damage either. They're finding all their black spells. That's why Prismatic is good, but not the best thing ever in this match. Summon Chocomog. Well, we're gonna get back our Veteran, and we're at 8. I mean, I can like play this, attack, they're gonna block, and then they can probably just get it back with their blood tokens, which we know about. That doesn't make a lot of sense. I guess I just hold up Prismatic Strands, or I could Skyfisher. I could attack for 2, Skyfisher, back the Skyfisher to gain 1 life off the Phantom. I mean, it's 1 life more than I have. I guess it's not terrible. It's also, for every 2 mana we can gain 1 life. So it's kind of a loop. It's not nothing, because we don't gain a life when something enters, but we gain a life when something leaves. They're going to Galvanic Blast with Metalcraft. That's 4 damage. Boy, that feels like enough. You know, that's more than any other single card is probably going to deal, but are they going to be able to deal more than that on their turn? Probably, but I think I have to do it because if I just let it go and then they have a bunch of Alms of the Veins and like black cards that don't technically deal damage, we're just going to die. They discard a snacker here, and so I think it's worth it. If we don't die here, we can hold up Prismatic Strands next turn. They have a looting to get back the snacker and play a Fiery Temper to the face. Another looting, discards 2 lands, and they have a Vampire's Kiss down to 4. Cycle the Eagles for a Grange. We're obviously leaving up 3 mana here. I would love another Veteran. That's not going to work. I could pick this up and replay it on the other side. I think we just Grange onto the Informant, swing for 6 here, and then I'm going to just pick up the Skyfisher again, hold up Prismatic Strands, because that's basically all we got. They are at 1 card in hand, but they've got 2 Faithlesses in the graveyard and the Snacker. So yeah, pick this back up, pass. Vampire's Kiss. Drawn 5 of their 8 black spells that don't officially deal damage. Pretty annoying. 3-win Charm. The fact that they didn't use a Faithless Looting there is kind of shocking to me. Although I guess they can triple Blood Token on the end step here to get their Snackers back. They're going to take the damage. I'm going to play Skyfisher, pick this up to gain a life. So I'm out of bolt range. I could get Galvanic Blasted, and then, I mean, I'm definitely not going to let them Faithless Looting, so I'm going to blow up their graveyard. The question is, do I want to do it now when they could triple Blood Token to get it back, or in their upkeep? I guess in their upkeep, because then they could do the same thing, but then it's just mana on their turn. But I don't see any reason to let them use Faithless Lootings. And yeah, I guess they probably don't even want to cash in 3 Blood Tokens just for that. There's a Fiery Temper. That's going to elicit the Prismatic Strands, but they have a Galvanic in response. Okay. If that wasn't just like the perfect hand that they had, I don't know what is. That was absolutely insane. I guess the good news is they're playing artifact lands, so Dust to Dust works, in addition to Martyr of Sands. We don't need Guardian's Pledges or Chokos. I don't think we're going for damage at all. We just need to survive. So Darval lets us re-trigger a creature. Obviously, Squadron Hawk is kept for the Martyrs. We want all the flyers. I think these can go. Prismatics are good enough. So yeah, we probably just cut one of these Inspectors. We don't want to spend too much time drawing cards. Ugh, only 1 land, but we have Veteran, Martyr, Squadron Hawk, Screech. I feel like it's 1 land, so it probably is a mulligan, but it's kind of insane. I'm going to keep it. Probably not the right call, but I don't know. It just gains so much life. Never didn't have it. So probably just Squadron Hawk. Since we're on the play, I'm not going to have to discard and I can get 3. And if I really want, this lets me just like Martyr of Sands to gain 18 next turn. Maybe 19 if I draw another, or 21 if I draw another white card. Grab a prize with the Snacker. Alright, Plains. So if I don't go for the Martyr of the Sands right now, then I'm going to start losing life by casting spells. I think I do. I can also now play the Inspector. So let's just reveal every single card in our hand to gain 18 life. Go up to 39 and start attacking. Seems pretty good to me. They suddenly have twice the work to do. I could have let back the Hawk, but seeing as we can maybe get a little more aggressive, casting the fire is annoying. I didn't really want to block the Squadron or the Snacker and then have them just like Faithless Looting it back. Okay. Skyfisher, we didn't hit a land, so I can Skyfisher to hit a land and then play a Hawk, or actually flashback our Veteran. I think that's probably the call. They bolt the Inspector, that's fine, that was not our target anyway. Play this. We already have enough value, we're just trying to deploy our threats quickly-ish. If we get a Dust to Dust, it looks pretty dang good. They Galvanic the Skyfisher, which gains us a life. Galvanic the other creature, so they did that in the wrong order. They do have a Spell Bomb, another Battle Screech, so still not hitting that land, so we're just going to Skyfisher Hawk. I mean, they're at 2 cards, we're at 36 life, so I think we're feeling pretty good. Also, these Battle Screeches don't care about the Spell Bomb. As long as we don't have a Veteran, we can just flash it back before they can even do anything, so they just concede. That hand was incredible. I knew I just needed to draw a land, and it was really, really good. Luckily, we drew 2, and Martyr of Sands, geez, just doubling our life total is insane for 2 mana total. Plus they knew the rest of our cards were coming. Like they knew we had gas in hand and we didn't just have a bunch of blanks. So all right, this one is a cheap imitation of the last one. It's tap land. There's no Battle Screech, there's no Martyr of Sands. Definitely, and we're on the draw. Definitely not keeping this one. This one's not bad, but again, 1 lander. Veteran's good, but can we just get, I guess we're keeping this one at this point. I feel like there should be a middle ground between 1 and 6 lands, preferably. Veteran, nope. They always have the grab the prize with the Snacker. Lucky them. We do get a Martyr of Sands. That's not bad. Squadron Hawk, search up all 3 of these. So if I get a white spell next turn, I can gain 15. It's not bad. They Faithless Looting before blocks, so they have a Kitchen Imp, I would assume, or they're just anticipating a Kitchen Imp. There it is. I'm going to block the Snacker for sure. Okay, they don't attack. That's fine too. Prismatic Strands. All right. Well, I really don't like showing the Prismatic Strands with the Martyr, but just like last time, we're going to start losing life if we don't play it first, so I think we do. I guess I don't have to do it this very moment. 3 times X life. There's no way they can really make us discard without us being able to respond, so I'm just going to pass. They flashback Faithless Looting. Fiery Temper and a Snacker coming back. They go for the Hawk. It's fine. Swing for 4. I'm going to show them 5 cards, gain 15. Inspector's not bad because this lets me play or hold up our Prismatic Strands, and I think I'm just holding it up for like probably black sources because we can prevent 6 damage from their attacks, which is a good amount. Plus we get to put this in the grave. They might like bolt in response. That's fine. Yeah, because I could use this as a charade to prevent red sources or something, but I'm just gonna not take 6 damage. Faithless Looting puts another Snacker in the bin. Inspector, Faithless in the grave, so if I play like double hawk, I don't really want to block both snackers anyway because they just bring them all back. So I'm going to crack this clue in case we get a land or something. Thraben Charm. Oh boy. So I would love to Thraben Charm away their graveyard, but then there's still 2 snackers on the field. I think we're playing a Squadron Hawk, which lets us hold up Prismatic Strands. And then, yeah, this turn I am going to block and prevent damage from black sources. And then, they'll probably flashback the Faithless Looting or otherwise draw 2 cards. But if they don't, we can Thraben Charm next turn. Either way, we can Thraben Charm next turn if we can block with, like, Hawks, maybe. I also have an Alms of the Vein. I mean, we're still at 24 after this. That's not bad, but these creatures are killing us. I guess we need some, like, Skyfishers. That's really what we need. Hey, there we go. I can Skyfisher, pick up a Grange, replay it. I could just Battle Screech and flash back. I get a bunch of guys, but then I probably just don't block because they could bring them all back, and then next turn I Thraben Charm. I don't love that. I think we're going to Skyfisher, pick up the Grange. If they just have a Bolt, like I kind of want to put the counter on the Skyfisher so it doesn't die to a Lightning Bolt, but if they just have a Bolt, then it's gone, and that's not very good. I think it's still worth it if they don't. I guess it still dies to Galvanic Blast as well. I'm going to play an Inspector, hold up the Thraben Charm. If I'm lucky, they'll just attack with everything. I can eat 2 snackers. I mean, I guess I might as well just eat the Kitchen Imp probably, but like if I can eat 2 snackers and then Thraben Charm them away, that's pretty good. They Galvanic Blast, yeah. Gaining so much life with the Martyr of Sands, it feels really hard to lose unless they just have consistent damage, which is exactly what they have this time. They have another Faithless Loot, Kitchen Imp, Fiery Temper. It's just outrageous. I guess I'm gonna exile their graveyard despite the fact that there's still a bunch of snackers running around, but this way we get rid of 1 snacker, we get rid of a Faithless Looting, we have a Plains. I'm gonna Battle Screech and flash it back. They just have like an Electrickery or something, or I guess Cast in the Fire. Yeah. Oh boy. I would have loved to see a Dust to Dust anytime earlier. Now it's pretty late, but we have 3 of those that we brought in as well. Not doing us any good. Another cast. Sure. We're down to 4. Martyr of Sands, way too late. And I guess it can gain me 9 here, which is basically just a fog. I guess technically that keeps us alive, so let's do it. Because I guess if we go like Runner, Prismatic Strands, and some other things, like maybe we can still survive. Prismatic and Skyfisher, not Inspector. Grange is useless too. Okay, that's just really annoying. This hand does not look very good. Way too many lands. This one's slightly better because we have, we kind of have 2 fewer lands because we're bottoming 1 and the Eagles is basically a land. We have an Inspector, which is some nice card draw, and Guardian's Pledge is good. Looks like we're against Walls or Spy, either of which our life gain doesn't really matter. I guess if it's Spy, we could technically gain like 20 life and that could be relevant. But I think I'd rather just play the Inspector because that lets me play a Skyfisher and pick it back up for more value. So, Cycle of Forest, another, cycle another Generous Ent, another Grange. So yeah, I'll just Skyfisher the Inspector. It's possible I should just crack the Clue token because like the damage from this Skyfisher is probably going to be irrelevant. That's why I love playing against Walls. Everything we do is basically just irrelevant. They Winding Way into 4 creatures. Play a Caretaker. Gate Creeper Vine is not usually played in traditional Walls, so this almost feels like it is Spy, and they've just happened to hit all creatures that could also be in Walls, except for this guy usually. Unless it's like a Walls version that just only runs a few lands, which is also a possibility. Well, I'm just playing a couple of these guys out and play a Grange. There's the Vine. Gets a Swamp. I mean, if they just have Spy, we basically just lose, but honestly, Spy's probably better for us than Walls because we have Thraben Charms to interact with the graveyard, if we can find any of them. Eagles of the North. We're gonna grow this here. Swing for 3, and yeah, I'm just going to leave up clues because the first clue can maybe draw us a Thraben Charm, which could be relevant on this turn, and if we don't die, then cracking both clues is probably more beneficial than playing an Inspector or something. I guess I could play an Inspector and go for like a Guardian's Pledge. They have a Fiend, so we don't have the Thraben Charm now, but ideally we can find it, well, if they have a Spy right now, ideally we can find it on the very top. But it looks like they might just be playing the Generous Ent. They did tap for a black, so maybe not. There's a Spy. They've only hit 4 lands, so it's possible they're YOLOing, they have the last land in hand, or they have 2 Spies. They cycle a Generous Ent in response, so usually 5 land is how many you play, so I guess we'll hope that this is a Thraben Charm. It was not. They overturned their graveyard. Look at that. Destroy Evil and Journey to Nowhere can get most of their walls. That's basically it. Guess Hawks are not great. We couldn't find a Prismatic Strands either, because that could just prevent them from killing us. Now they're going to have ways to get around that. I guess I should have seen... Well, what did they reveal? They probably are playing 40-ish creatures. Technically, Martyr of Sands could maybe keep us alive. Like that plus Veteran, in which case we'd want Hawks. Like, Formants just get blocked, and it's not that big of a deal if we discard stuff now. I guess, I mean, let me pull up a deck list so I know I'm not being crazy, but they usually run a one of the Pain card that prevents damage, right? Huh. Well, I'm seeing Fairy Macabre, but that doesn't prevent. Maybe there's a reason to keep in the Strands. I don't know. Martyr, that's probably a long shot anyway. Squadron Hawk does at least fly over their guys. Informant does not. So sure, we'll do this. Double Veteran. Yeah, we have the anti-burn start. Not really where we want to be at, but I mean, it's a reasonable hand. We can maybe draw with Inspector to some card, some interaction. I mean, this is probably just a mulligan, but why not? They mulligan to 5. We got a Veteran, Plains, play another Veteran. I mean, if we are to gain enough life to survive a hit from a giant, this is one of the starts we would want for it. 2 life off of every creature, plus Squadron Hawk and Battle Screech, which can make 8 more creatures for 16 plus life. The Battlement, like Destroy Evil would be a nice draw. Well, Inspector we can just play alongside the Squadron Hawk. Probably best if I just crack a clue instead to make sure I hit my Battle Screech. Not to mention the 1/1 just isn't probably that relevant. They lead the Stampede. They hit 1 Caretaker. That's pretty good for us. Guardian's Pledge is not bad. Journey to Nowhere. Okay, so I can Journey this. That slows them down. I mean, I'm going to attack. I could Guardian's Pledge to kill the Caretaker, but I think I'd rather just cut off the Overground Battlement right now. They whiffed on creatures, so I'm hoping that they just will whiff on... You know, making this, getting rid of this makes it so they whiff on mana too. Although they've just naturally drawn 3 of their 5 lands, and they have an ent for another one. Okay, lead the Stampede again. We are also just keeping the creature count a little low so they can't spy at all. Like if I attack here, I probably just Guardian's Pledge to wipe their creature away. I guess Darval makes that maybe a different choice. But we get in for 9, kill their creature, and then they what? Inspector. So I could just deal this, and then I guess if they have a Caretaker and a Spy we don't know about, we could just lose, but that seems unlikely. So maybe instead I go for Darval and Hawk. They go to 11, then I have 5 creatures for next turn with the Guardian's Pledge. Sure, let's do that. Turn this guy, Squadron Hawk, go up to 29, which I don't think is anywhere near enough yet. Pull out 3 Hawks, pass the turn. So now this is 17 damage with the Guardian's Pledge, depending on what gets blocked, obviously. They do get their last basic here. I guess if they just have the Spy, that's pretty much lethal. Okay, they have a Fiend. I can take Pledge, which is also pretty annoying. I guess not quite as bad as just losing. They have the Inspector to grow the Caretaker. Interesting. Yeah, I guess it survives is more important. It's surviving. Skyfisher. Well, we're swinging with the team. Unless I should have gained some life first, maybe, from the Veterans. They block 2 of those. No, they want to block the 3/3. Block here. They take 3. Yeah. This land that we've been missing has been a real pain, so I guess I crack a clue. I could just play a Skyfisher and a Thraben Inspector. That's not even close to presenting lethal. I think I need to draw something to be anywhere close to that, so let's just try to draw so that we can maybe find a Thraben Charm, Prismatic Strands, number of different things. There's a Ranger. I guess we only have 1 flyer and they can just play the Hunter now. That's kind of annoying. No, they have an ent. Okay. Eagles of the North. That's finally a land. Pretty annoying one, to be fair. But this, Skyfisher, pick up an Inspector, Grange onto a Hawk, I suppose. Replay this. I mean, 32 life, like, depending on how many creatures they have on board and stuff, like, maybe we're getting to the point where maybe we can survive 1 Dread Return on a giant, but they're probably going to have 2, unfortunately. There's a Lead the Stampede. No Spy, though, so they're not going to put us out of our misery. Wall of Roots and pass. Another Plains. Let's crack a clue. Darval. That's not good. Alright, Skyfisher and Inspector. And we have basically nothing to do if all we draw is more creatures. We do have a fair amount of interaction. We have 4 Thraben Charms, which can exile graveyards, but a total of 8 removal spells with the Journey to Nowheres and the Destroy Evils, which would all be pretty good. I mean, we have enough creatures that if we find, like, a Journey to Nowhere or Thraben Charm, we can blow up a Mesmeric Fiend and then attack with everything and wipe out most of their creatures. That's not bad. Play a Battlement. That was their draw, I think, because I think these are their 4 cards. I guess they played a Generous Ent already, so maybe they don't have another one. They do have another one. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. So another Ent, no attacks. Battle Screech. Yeah, let's just crack a clue. There's a Thraben Charm. Yeah, so there was definitely the chance that I should just not crack a clue, because if I find the charm and now they get like a fiend and then the spy, then like I'm not going to have a charm for it, but I don't know. I guess I could also Thraben. I mean, we can see about Thraben Charming down the Mesmeric Fiend. They have enough blockers, it's not going to be lethal by any stretch. So I guess that probably just doesn't work very well. They do play an Avenging Hunter. And getting through 2 Generous Ents is pretty tough. Obviously, we can kill one of them if we want to do that. They also, I'm pretty sure, have this Wildling to play, though. Crack a food, though, instead. Untap the Battlement and just pass. Well, we're going to crack a clue, see what we got. Another Thraben Charm. Finally getting them. Okay, I mean, I could Thraben Charm both Generous Ents. They only have 1 Reacher, which is the V2 Inspector, and then I can get in for a couple. Take the initiative, we get our land. It's not bad. Obviously, we lose to a Spy. That's always going to be the case unless I hold up the Charm. I could also single Charm on the Fiend, so we're holding another one up for a Guardian's Pledge, but then we're still never getting through with the Generous Ents. I think we have to try to get through. So let's just make sure. Yeah, they just have an Avenging Hunter hand, maybe a Wildling. They could have used this Wildling earlier, I guess. I don't know, and there's no record of it, but I'm going to go for a Generous Ent, dealing at 14 damage. I'm going to try to deal 14 damage to the other Generous Ent, and we're going to swing with our flyers. They can block 2 of it. They take 4, we get the initiative. Obviously, they can take the initiative back with their own second Hunter, but we get a Plains, which is kind of nice. I guess we just play a Squadron Hawk? No, we might as well play this Veteran from the grave and then pass there. If they attack with the Hunter, then I could just block with this Darval that I want to trade off anyway. And an Inspector. Don't think there's any way they can deal, like, grow it or anything. So I don't think there's a reason to throw another Inspector in front of it. So that's a great trade for us because we gain some life. We can also play our other Darval now. But of course they're going to play Saga Wildling. Okay. I mean, they have mana to do both if they want to play the other one. Yes, there it is. Couple counters on a guy. On the Inspector, sure. So now they have 2 3-power reach/flyers. That is annoying. Prismatic Strands. Okay, that's interesting. If they... Oh boy. So if they do end up getting the combo, Prismatic Strands can save us, assuming they don't have Fraying Pain, whatever the flashback, damage can't be prevented thing is. But if they have a Fairy Macabre, then using Prismatic Strands to keep 2 of my attackers alive here is not great. But I kind of got to get that initiative, so I think we're going for it. Block, block. I try to kill the Skyfishers. Gonna Prismatic Strands to prevent damage from green sources, to keep my guys alive. Take the initiative. They only have 1 actual flyer, so I should have played a Squadron Hawk first, maybe, to block. I'll put the counters here. Darval to pick up a Skyfisher. Gains a counter here, or gains a life, and then gain a life here. And then, if I play a Skyfisher, I might have to... Actually, I didn't play a land this turn, so I could replay a land. There we go, okay. If I was gonna have to chump the Wildling if they attacked, then I wouldn't want to replay the Skyfisher to chump. I'd want to play a Squadron Hawk, but I can play this land, grow the Skyfisher, and that even lets me play an Inspector. 41 life. That actually could legitimately be enough to survive a hit from a Giant, not to mention a Prismatic Strands in the grave, if that is relevant. I mean, it's relevant against the initiative, if nothing else. This is a crazy game. Okay. I mean, I have a 3-4 for this, and I have a 3-4 and a 3-3 here, so this does not look like a very good attack, but maybe they have something I don't know about. Maybe they just want to kill some creatures. Maybe they want as many creatures in their graveyard as they can have for the Giant. But then again, I guess they'd throw away some more creatures. I don't know. Looks like they almost go for the Spy. They have another Hunter. Okay, but why are they throwing away their flyer and stuff? I don't know. They get to trap us down to 37. Got us on a clock. And now there's the Spy, which they mill themselves. Okay, so I assume they have to have the Flaring Pain. That's what the card is. There it is. They do have Flaring Pain. They only have 29 creatures in the grave, but I assume they have 2 Dread Returns. 2 Dread Returns, 2 Giants. So why you need to do the Hunter stuff? That was not necessary. They cast Flaring Pain. Damage can't be prevented. Okay, well they have the Flaring Pain, they have Dread Return, a Lotless Giant, another Giant, and they have enough creatures to do it twice. So we are dead, unfortunately. Alright, we have an okay hand here. Play an Inspector, and we're against Fairies. This is supposed to be a good matchup for us, but we need to find some flyers for that to really pan out the way we want. They scry 2 to the top. Battle Screech is good. So I could play an Inspector. That allows me to Chocomog next turn and maybe just start attacking for a bunch. Or I could just crack a Clue, which is more mana efficient. Maybe gets us to a Battle Screech sooner. I think we're going to play the Inspector because if they don't go for a Ninja or whatever, maybe they have Counterspell, then we don't want to go for the Mog. But if they just go for a Ninja here, then I can get the Chocomog down, start attacking a lot, plus we have a Guardian's Pledge the following turn. We could maybe kill them on like turn 5. And so they either have to... Okay, Dimir changes this a little bit. I mean, Snuff Out makes things harder, but also... Okay, they do have the Hacker. I mean, I still get to play this hit for 4, then next turn... If they have a Snuff Out for this, that's kind of annoying. Ooh, but now we can Battle Screech the following turn. Yeah, I think this is still pretty decent. I'm going to swing. If they have the Snuff Out, so be it. Dealing them an extra 4 is pretty nice, honestly. And they do. Really no reason to do it on my end step, but fair enough. Fairy Seer. Scry 2 to the bottom. They go ahead and loot here. Away an island. Prismatic Strands. So I think I just Battle Screech. They can't Spell Stutter it. If they have a counter spell, that's fine. If they don't, it's really good for us. Looks like they do. I'm not going to just let him get a free attack. I'm not going to attack with 1 because I don't think 1 damage if they have a cast down is really worth it. Not to mention I want to have my creatures around for flashing back the Battle Screech. So I don't really want to trade off, but they're probably not going to use 2 removal spells. They're probably not going to attack into this, I would guess. But if I have just 1 guy standing between them, then there's more likelihood that they will try to kill it. I have another Hacker, I suppose. Depending on what we get, I could also just hold up Prismatic Strands here to try to prevent these ninjas from doing anything annoying. Planes can let me crack a Clue and hold up either of these. So I think we probably do that. Crack a Clue now just in case I find something I want to use. That can be okay. I mean, if they tap out at the end step here, I guess I could like Thraben Charm the Seer. If they like Brainstorm and Lorien, but not really expecting that. Well, they cast down. I think that's more reason to just hold up the Prismatic Strands. Pachuca Bog gets rid of our Battle Screech, not our Strands though. Swing with the team. Block here. I'm fine with this trade. I guess if they have 2 counterspells for this, then I can't actually do what I want. There's 1 counterspell. I would like to eat their guy, and we're certainly going to flash it back, but we'll see if they have the other. Brainstorm, trying to find a Spell Pierce or Dispel. Alright, that works. Not bad for us. And a Miscreant. Okay, Inspector. Probably Thraben Charm a creature down here. Ooh, Informant. I guess they have 2 flyers anyway. I think I'm just going to get some creatures down. Grange, by discarding it, we lose 2 counters, 1 on this and 1 from the Grange. So, and I haven't played a land this turn, so the question is this Thraben Charm or this Inspector worth 2 counters? I kind of don't think so. I'm going to get rid of the Charm. Might be a little greedy, but our last card in hand is Guardian's Pledge, so we're kind of trying to get enough damage on them to use that effectively. Currently we have 6 damage. We can add another 6, so that's 12. They brainstormed, so they might not have the best cards on top. We knew that none of them were a Dispel or a Spell Pierce, because we're pretty sure they would have used it on the Prismatic Strands. Thorn of the Black Rose, okay. I mean, I can attack with everything, and Guardian's Pledge, they're going to trade here, but I can eat 2 of these guys, maybe? Ooh, Thraben Charm's good, actually, because now I can kill this, and if they want to keep the Monarch, they have to block everything, which is all going to trade off because of this Guardian's Pledge, and just the fact that our creatures are mostly bigger than theirs. I guess if they don't care, they could block here, double block this guy. Now they chop everything. So I could Guardian's Pledge just to keep our Informant alive. Informant's a 3/2, that's probably good enough, because if we don't, we have 3 damage. We still have a 2-turn clock. Yeah, I think I'm going to go for it. And again, they should not have a Spell Pierce because they haven't drawn through their cards yet. Well, they've now drawn through their Brainstorm, but they hadn't before. Alright, they shouldn't have a board wipe in their main deck except for a Suffocating Fumes, which currently doesn't do anything. So they could just have a couple removal spells, but mostly we should be fine. Skyfisher's good too. Attack for 6. Like, unless they have Snuff Out, Cast Down, or Snuff Out, Cast Down, Spell Stutter, something like that, it's going to be hard for them to keep this. And they don't. They just go to 3. Perfect. I'm not going to cast a Skyfisher into a counter spell, I don't think. Especially when we already have lethal on them. I guess maybe because they have a Spell Stutter, it would have been worth it. like if they had a spell stutter. But maybe if they had 2 of them, they would have used them anyway. If they just had a counter spell, I'd be fine with the 1-for-1. Maybe it would have been worth it to just run out the Skyfisher there. Now it gets countered by a spell stutter, and it didn't before. But, well, we'll see if they have... They got a chump here, and they have to have at least 1 removal spell. Okay, or double chump. That's fine too. Yep, chump the 2 bigger ones. Get the Monarch, play an Inspector. Now if they want to spell stutter this, if they have another, that's fine. I have a Skyfisher. Pick up this Inspector. Yeah, they concede there. Went pretty well for us in the end. Nothing is amazing here. Holy Light is good enough. Usually I wouldn't bring in Holy Light against a Dimir Fairies, but the fact that they have not only Spell Stutters and Fairy Seers, but we've also seen Miscreants means that it hits quite a bit. So I think it's probably worth it. Oh, and Moonsarga Hackers. So it probably hits 16 creatures in their deck, at least. Seems pretty good to me. Squadron Hawk's great here because it blocks everything. So yeah, I guess we don't have a ton of creatures to remove. Or cards to remove. I guess Journey's probably decent too, just to get rid of a ninja, but we have so many blockers for ninjas. I don't actually know if that matters. So yeah, probably just creatures on the ground. Fiend's Informant. Prismatic's decent, but it's not always insane. And maybe 1 Inspector. Alright, still 2 Prismatic Strands, Holy Light. I mean, this one's okay. The fact that we get to ban a Prismatic Strands with the Fiend's Informant helps it a lot. Squadron Hawk, if it resolves, is really nice. Now that we draw Plains, I'm gonna try to get the most value out of the Grange. Just have an Augur or Bolas. Okay, well, I can play an Informant to block that. Obviously, you could just get killed or whatever. And they whiff on the Augur because Augur's a trash card. Play Informant. And we do get a Plains. Nice. Alright, this hand is shaping up real nicely. Fairy Seer. Scry 2 to the top. They're gonna miss a land drop. Alright. Nice for us. Also, they're missing black, but they scried 2 to the top, so they probably have a land on there. I guess I probably Darval the Informant, although I want to get a Skyfisher or a Squadron Hawk down. Yeah, I mean, this just lets me get an extra trigger from this. It's a Darval down, which is minorly helpful. It dodges Cast Down, for example. And I could Skyfisher, but I don't really want to pick up this or a land, so I think I'm just going to Squadron Hawk here, and I'll just pick up 2 Hawks, since I don't really want to discard a card for no reason. Hawk still blocks the Fairy Seer, plus we have a Prismatic to even keep it alive if we want. They do hit a land, but it was just an island, so that's nice. No blocks. I'm gonna Grange onto the Hawk. I'll play another Hawk. If they want to spell stutter this, that's totally fine. If not, it's also a pretty nice blocker. Got our last Hawk, and now I don't think there's a reason to run out another Hawk, because then they'd be happy to spell stutter it. I just don't want them to spell stutter it. I don't mind if they do it if it allows us to guess something else, but I'm not going to do it for no value, obviously. They did keep 2 on top, so I could definitely see another land being on top. Although if that's the case, it probably would not be a black land, because they would have probably done them in the other order. Don't think I need to attack for 3 with the Darfall. I'd rather just get make sure that we have our blockers here. Pass to us. Battle Screech. That's pretty good. If that gets countered, I can flash it back. If it gets like Spell Pierced and then countered, maybe that's not great. I guess for that reason, if it gets countered, maybe I just don't flash it back because it could get Spell Pierced, in which case I've tapped myself out, opening myself up to ninjas, which is definitely a way they can get back into the game. Yeah, so let's just wait on that. There's a Miscreant. Now let's go for a Battle Screech. I guess we do need to be wary of like Arms of Hadar and Suffocating Fumes. Not until they have black mana, obviously, but if they top deck a Swamp and then are able to cast one, it could be pretty bad. They let that go. I'm going to cast a Skyfisher. If they want to spell stutter this, then I can Holy Light all of their flyers away. And I'm pretty happy with that. I think that might just be game ending. We get to Grange, up a bird token, and pass the turn. Now, unless they get like an Arms of Hadar, we can just start attacking for a whole bunch. Miscreant doesn't even draw a card anymore. And cast a Hacker, love to see that. And another Battle Screech. I guess that might be a little overzealous to attack with that, or to cast that, just because, again, the Arms of Hadar would be brutal. I think I'm just going to swing with everything. I can play like Skyfisher, Hawk, Rafine's Informant, and then still hold up a Strands from the grave. Maybe even 2 if I pitch the other one, Informant. They take it all. Play Informant, discard the Strands, and yeah, Skyfisher, pick up a Grange, I think. Play another Hawk. Yeah, even with a Arms of Hadar off the top here, like Black Source and Arms, we still have 2 Skyfishers, a Darval, and then we have a Battle Screech from hand. So I think we're in a pretty good spot there. All right, 2-3, not quite what we want, obviously. I think I just didn't play to the best of my ability, so that was definitely a bit on me. Maybe we got a little unlucky at some points, but it wasn't drastically more than is average, I would say. And yeah, I could just play a little bit better, like I said. The Darval did seem better here. I've tried it once or twice before and it hasn't been exceptional. It still doesn't feel insane, but like we got it a couple times. Well, we almost got the Inspector Darval right away. once or twice, and I think we did get it once. And that was pretty good. Pretty aggressive start. Obviously rebuying a clue. It's not enough to be like, oh my god, it's the best card ever, but like it's not bad. It was a little annoying, but the only that it was legendary the one time we drew both of them, but that was against walls where we already had a million cards, or spy walls I suppose, where we already had a million cards in hand. We had other things to play, so it wasn't really a big deal. Luckily we didn't play against elves, so the holy lights weren't super crucial, but obviously that one was really good against fairies in the end. So in any case, I always enjoy playing White Weenie. Thank you very much to my supporters, including my $10 and up supporters: Howard Granger, Rafa Rodriguez, JD NPX, Jason Golombuski, Halkaz, Cody Cowell, Ill Intent, and Emmanuel Mayer. I really appreciate the support, and I will see you all next time.